Hello everyone, welcome you back for the Rotary Actuators. See, hydraulic motors are the rotary actuators. However, as the name rotary actuator is reserved for a particular type of the units that is limited in rotation to a less than 360 degree. Especially in the case of the rotary actuators, there is a incremental movement will also be there. The incremental, it may be in the case of either it may be a 90 degree or it may be 180 degree or 270 degree or it may be a 360 degree. The hydraulic motors are the device which converts a fluid power into a rotary motion, or the converts the fluid pressure into a torque. Torque is a function of the pressure, or in other words, the motor input pressure levels is determined by the resisting torque of the output of the shaft. As you know that most of the systems, especially in the case of the fluid power systems, the load will be there on the system. Once if the load will be there on the system, automatically the torque required to drive the system is of more. Once if it is more means automatically the pressure required is also more. The hydraulic pump is a device which converts a mechanical force into a motion of the fluid power. A hydraulic motor is not a hydraulic pump when run in backward. A design that completely acceptable that as the motor may operates very poorly as a pump. In certain applications, the major differences between the hydraulic motor and as well as the hydraulic pump are listed below. The first column is nothing but a hydraulic motor, and the second column is with respect to the hydraulic pump. It is a device that delivers the torque at a given pressure. But here in the case of the hydraulic pump, it is a device that delivering a flow at a given pressure. That is a major difference between what we can say the hydraulic motor and as well as a hydraulic pump. See, motors usually runs at low speeds, especially in the case of the hydraulic motors. But in the case of the hydraulic pumps, it runs at high speeds. The motors, most of the motors are designed in a bidirectional application, but especially in the case of the pumps, it is only in most of the situations the pumps are usually operates at one directions. The motors may be of the ideal for a long time, but here in the case of the pumps are usually operates continuously. See, motors are subjected to high what we can say the loads, but in the case of the pumps, or it may be the majority of the pumps is not subjected to a side loads. See, these are some of the major differences between the what we can say the hydraulic motors and as well hydraulic pump and as well as hydraulic motor. The next comparison what we are giving is with respect to the hydraulic motors and as well as the electric motors. Electric motors cannot be stopped instantly, but in the case of the hydraulic motors can be stopped instantly, or even the variation with respect to the angular moment is also possible in the case of the hydraulic motors. As you know that the hydraulic motors runs at low speeds. The hydraulic motors are heavy duty and as well as even the bulky, but in the case of the hydraulic motors are very compact when compared to the electric motors. The electric motor, the moment, inertia and as well as the torque ratio is nearly 100, but here in the case of the hydraulic motors, the moment of the inertia or the torque ratio is nearly 1. See, the application, the hydraulic motors are have become a popular in industries. Hydraulic motors can be applied directly to the work. They provides an excellent control in acceleration, or it may be the operating speeds, or it may be deceleration, or it may be smooth reversal, and even the positioning of the what we can say the components. They also provides a flexibility in design and eliminate much of the bulk and as well and weight of the mechanical and as well as the electrical power transmissions. The application of the hydraulic motors in the various combinations with the pumping units is termed as hydrostatic transmissions. The classification of the hydraulic motors. See, the hydraulic motors are classified into high speed low torque motors, and the second one is nothing but the low speed high torque motors. See, depending upon the mechanisms employed, provided for the shaft and as well as the rotation. The hydraulic motors can be classified as gear motors, vane motors, and as well as the piston motors. The piston motors are further classified as the axial piston motors and as well as the radial piston motors. The gear motors are the least efficient but dirt tolerant and have a lowest pressure rating of 3. The piston motors are the most efficient and as well as the least dirt tolerant and have a high pressure rating. The vane and as well as the piston motors can be either it may be a fixed or it may be a variable displacement, but the gear motors are available with only one fixed displacement only. The next topic what we are discussing is with respect to the gear motors. See, gear motors develops the torque due to the hydraulic pressure which is acting on the gear tooths. Even in the case of the gear motors also, there are two different types of gears will be there. The first one is nothing but a driver gear. The another one is a supporting gear or a follower gear, or normally we used to call it as a idler gear. See, these two gears are meshed meshed, and these two it rotates in the opposite direction. In the design of the gear motors, one of the gear is key to the output shaft while the other is simply rotating it. The pressurized oil is sent to the inlet port of the motor. The pressure is then applied to the gear teeth, causing the gear and as well as the output shaft to rotate. The pressure built until enough the torque is generated and the rotates to the output shaft against the load. The side load of the motor bearing is quite high because of the hydraulic pressures on one side. See, the schematic diagram shows the gear motor, which consists of the two different gears. One is the driving gear, or it may be a driven gear which is mounted on the shaft. The another one is the idler gear, or it's also called as a follower gear. This entire gears it is placed in the casing.